Hi, guys. This is Jeffrey Grossman here, and I have a special interview segment today with Alyssa Johnson from I Practice Smart. And she is currently in the process of helping to further support and educate acupuncturists and other therapists in growing and sustaining successful practices. And today I'm just going to have a little chat with her about different ways that she might be able to shed some insight into various ways that practitioners can figure out ways to attract and convert patients and help their practices grow. So, Alyssa, welcome, and
Hi,
uh,
thank you.
thanks for taking the time out today to jump on this call with me and share some of the wisdom that you've got going on. So, briefly, tell us a little bit about what you do.
Uh, well, let's see. First and foremost, I'm a licensed acupuncturist, um, and I am practicing at this point. And then, secondly, I founded in 2012 a business called ipracticesmart.com, which pretty much is a mission of mine to just make sure that other acupuncturists have an easier time starting their practices than what I had, to be honest. So that's what I do.
Yeah, I feel your pain. I mean, I started Acupuncture Media Works in 2002 for that exact reason. I began the process by marketing my own practice, and other practitioners asked me where I got this from and where I got that from and how I did this and how I did that. And I just fell into the niche of helping other practitioners, educate their patients and to teach them different marketing techniques. And it is my mission as well to really help practitioners figure out ways to share acupuncture and to grow their practices because, as you can probably agree with me, Alyssa, acupuncturists are not the marketing savvy type, right?
Not usually.
Not usually,
Yeah,
no.
I think it's kind of like innately the opposite of what most acupuncturists are good at. Um, and a lot of us actually get into this field because we're givers and we want to do good and we want to give back and we want to help people. And we are very kind of off put actually from most marketing strategies and the whole idea of like trying to sell yourself or sell your services.
Correct. I totally agree with you. And I've experienced that personally when I started my practice too, the idea of selling myself as opposed to sharing the power of the medicine. And that was a really awesome mind shift for me to move from, me selling myself, selling my practice to sharing the wisdom of the medicine overall and sharing the power that acupuncture can provide for the general public. So that really
Hmm.
helped me shift that, and it has been an uphill battle to help, show practitioners different ways to market their practices. Because I totally agree with you that, innately we are born to help heal and give, right? And selling and marketing it just makes us want to run the other way. So that's one of the reasons why we both do what we do because we're passionate about the medicine and we're passionate about helping to spread the wisdom of the medicine and to help our colleagues find success because it's there's the statistic out there that I don't even know where it came from, but I've been hearing about it for the many years that in 5 years half of all practitioners are out of practice mainly because they don't have a sustainable way to keep new patients coming in and to keep their current patients active, which is a terrible statistic. And I don't want anyone that we know to be a stat.
Yeah, I've heard that statistic too. And let's see, I graduated in 2007 and just from like my own class, I think I think it's actually we're a little bit better than that. I don't think it's quite 50% fail in the first 5 years, but looking at my class and how we're doing, I think about 25, maybe 35% are not right now for lots of reasons. Um, but yeah, I mean, I think that's a reality, and it's something that we, if if we want our profession to grow, if we want people to get to acupuncture, if we have passion and excitement for what we do and who we can be in the world, I think that that statistic needs to change drastically soon.
I agree. I think I don't think it is 50% straight across. I do think though that there are a lot of practitioners who, they came to this medicine because they want to try to find a livelihood here, and they struggle with finding livelihood because we don't embrace that marketing. It's kind of like that. It's kind of like you got to hold your breath, close your eyes, and just do it. And what I'd like for you to share are some insights into maybe some no cost or low cost simple marketing strategies that you're willing to share with the people that are listening to this, the different ways that they can attract people to their practice and keep them in care longer.
Okay, perfect. Well, I honestly like to keep it pretty simple to start. I think that one of the greatest things practitioners can do for themselves is, I call it creating a repeatable calendar for themselves. And within that repeatable calendar, making sure that they actually set aside time to do marketing. And people are always like, how much time? And my response to that is, well, how many patients do you have right now? How many patients do you want? And if you're not seeing patients or actively doing something in your practice, you should be doing marketing at the beginning. So this should be kind of a teeter-totter at the beginning, in the fact that if you're brand new and you only are doing 10 hours of actual practice in your practice, seeing clients, then you should be doing 30 hours. I know that sounds like a lot, but your main focus should be on marketing. How do I get more people? And as you get more people, then the amount of time that you spend marketing or working the systems for your marketing should, lay off, or you'll be able to delegate them to somebody else, or, the systems that you create for marketing will take over and you won't have to spend as much time in it. But as a new practitioner, I think the best way for you to get patients is, one, to learn about online strategies, and two, get out of your office and actually meet people and network and do things. So the first thing is to manage your schedule appropriately, and not waste time sitting by the phone or waiting for people to call, or putzing around your office trying to make it look nice, because the biggest thing is you just need patience. So
Agreed.
set up the time, to get the patients. That's the first thing.
Yep, I fully agree with you on that, and I think that's what I mean, having a marketing calendar both on a monthly and an annual basis is a really powerful thing that every practitioner should have. And one of the rules that I go by is to have at least three different types. I call it the 3E rule, and three events. That's what the E is. Events going on every month. And
Right.
it could be, you have a day set aside where you're just asking for referrals every day. Maybe you have an event set up where, not an event, but you have a meeting set up with a local professional that month to develop a networking strategy with them, and maybe you're doing a talk. Those are three things that you're doing that one month. The following month, maybe you're doing a talk, maybe you're doing a healthcare class, and maybe you're doing a health fair. So I really firmly believe that you need at least three at a minimum of offline marketing. Offline is, anything that you do not online to attract patients to your practice. And that to me has proven to be successful in my own practice and other people that I've worked and coached with as well.
Yeah, I love that. I agree. So that's usually where I start with clients when I work with them, is just, let's prioritize your calendar, let's prioritize your time, and really kind of get your headspace around what you're doing, when, and why. So that's the first thing. The second thing is a lot of just what do you do in networking events? How do you maximize elevator speech, a 5-minute presentation, a 10-minute presentation, a 15-minute presentation in a way that you can, and then do it over and over again so that you don't have to always spend time redoing slides or creating new material all the time. So um, I find that for a lot of practitioners, the introduction to acupuncture, the introduction to what we do is very similar. So get used to talking that through, and then if you have something in specific that you're talking about, tag that on to the last, minute or 10 minutes, depending on however long your process is. But most talks that you do, most meetings that you do will be kind of a repeatable process, a repeatable conversation. So don't beat yourself up about it and try to redo it every single time.
I agree with you on that. And one, I got just a couple things to say about that. When you do any type of networking event, it is really good to have a canned conversation on board anytime. The elevator speech is really important because inevitably, when anybody finds out that you're an acupuncturist, they want to know what you do and if you can help them. And
Mm-hmm.
my suggestion, and let me know if you agree on this, is to keep it simple and straightforward. Because if we go into chi and yin and yang and meridians and excess and deficiency when we are just meeting people or when we're just introducing people to acupuncture, do you find that you get this glazed over look from them?
Yes, actually, I very rarely start conversations with acupuncture terminology.
Agreed. I totally
Uh,
agree. I'm sorry. You can continue. You can continue.
yeah, I was going to say, I usually just start with, hi, my name is Alyssa Johnson. I'm a licensed acupuncturist, and I help people with this. Or, um, I do this to help people with this. Is kind of my introduction. Has very little to do with acupuncture and the philosophy of what we do.
I agree. And it's also really important just to ask people what they know about acupuncture too. I mean, that's a great one of the things that I do when I do networking. When I introduce myself, I say, "Hey, my name is Jeffrey Grossman. I'm a licensed acupuncturist. I practice, 3 blocks away from here, and I've been helping people for X amount of years with these various conditions." And then I ask people what they know about acupuncture and if they know anybody who's tried acupuncture. And
Mm-hmm.
inevitably, everyone knows somebody who's tried acupuncture. So they're willing to share that information easily. And another thing I want to say about networking is when I do any type of networking event or anything like that, I have a call to action. And a call to action is actually something that gets a person to take action to actually and literally take step foot into your practice. And I think that um, if anybody does any type of networking event or talk or screening, you 100% need something like a call to action that gets people to take action. Do you have any words about call to actions or anything like that?
Yeah, I mean, I think call to actions are very important, and then they get used in practice building in lots of different ways. Um, I think obviously a call to action needs to be on your website in some way. I think that when you do networking events or talks, there also needs to be a call to action. And I think what you mean by that is just usually some kind of offer or some kind of special or giveaway or something that actually gets people to, create action towards your business or seeing you, um, or signing up for your program, whatever it may be.
Correct. Yes.
Uh,
And
yeah.
call to actions that I've used in my practice is something called the 2022 technique, which what I do is I offer people a mini stress reduction treatment and I invite them in for a 20-minute stress reduction treatment. Normally, I would charge $20 for it, but if I'm at an event or a networking event or anything like that, and I offer it for free and I use 2 acupuncture points, point zero and Shen Man of the ear. which are powerful to help reduce stress and anxiety. So the idea
Yeah.
is I bring them in, the idea is I offer them this mini stress reduction treatment. They come in, they try this treatment, and a couple things happen. One, they overcome their fear of needles because we're using the tiniest, Jaren, the sarin, what are they? Those sarin tiny red needles. Gosh, it's totally slipping my mind. The
Okay.
sarin jade type needles, the smallest little ones. Anyway, um, so they overcome their fear of needles because we're using the tiniest sarin needles, and they are super small. People hardly feel them, and they also get to experience acupuncture quickly and the effects of it by using point zero and Shenmen. And then they also get to check out your location and ask you questions in a more intimate setting. So it's kind of like a win-win in those instances.
Yeah, I think that's great. I think another thing that I have done frequently, because a lot of networking events, especially if they're like things that you do regularly, you feel like you can't keep pushing the same call to action. So, I always say, of course, this is what I will always do for you if you're interested. But if I ever have open houses or talks or anything else that are on my calendar, I'm sure to bring brochures or information about that talk or that event that we're about to do, and invite people to come to that also.
I agree, and yeah, and I think that inviting, that's a great way to spread sort of the word. But I think anytime you do a talk or anything like that, there needs to be something that makes them take action, whatever it
Right.
is. But you gotta, otherwise you're wasting your marketing dollars and your time and energy. You just go there, you're like, hi, this is who I am, and thanks for asking my questions, goodbye, right? You gotta figure
Right.
out some way to get them to take action. And I think by something like, there's various ways of doing it. Um, okay.
I think another thing, another really important thing to talk about, especially about networking, is that a lot of people will start networking and they'll go once or twice to a meeting and they'll say, nobody referred anybody to me. I didn't have any conversions. This is not working for me. Um, and my response to that is two things. One is that networking, you have to grow a know, like, and trust factor with the people that are at those networking events. There's lots of ways to do that. But if it's a repeatable event, a lot of times you just have to show up, um, and you actually have to refer to them sometimes too. The best ways for you to get referrals sometimes is to actually help other people build their businesses too. So I always say, networking events are a commitment, relationships are a commitment, and some of the best networking resources that I've gotten over my career have been people that, I connect with, I care about. I send people to them, they send people to me. I give testimonials to them in public, they give testimonials to me in public. Um, there's more to it than just showing up, giving your spiel, and expecting people to refer their friends and family to you.
I totally agree with you. There is that rapport and that ability to get them to know you, to like you, and to trust you, and that's really important. And it does take time. I mean, you're right. People do go, and I've had a bunch of people that I've been working with over the past few years who they come back, go to a networking event or a health fair, and they come back and they're like, I'm done with that. I'm never going to do them again. And they get discouraged because they haven't seen the results. And part of it is because they're not used to asking for referrals is one of them, and two, they're not used to giving away referrals because in some instances, if you're giving away a referral to, like, let's say a massage therapist or a chiropractor, people sometimes think that, well, I'm giving how someone can come see me if I'm giving them the person that I should be treating. So there's a little bit of a fear factor, I think, that comes in, that you're going to actually lose a patient in that way if you refer them to somebody else. But I think that is absolutely 100% the opposite. You'll gain trust from the person and develop a lifelong networking referral relationship with them.
Right. Yes.
So what other
So,
kind
and
of
then, go ahead.
I was just gonna ask you what other kind of little nuggets that you have to share with some of the people who are listening.
I do think that a strong online presence is important. This is something that I am not the expert in right now, but am strategically trying to learn more and more. And the business coach that coaches me and, the coaching group that I'm in, this is a huge thing that they work on. And so I do think it's important to have a good website. I do think it's important that your website is more than just an electronic brochure. And I do think that if you're going to own a business, you need to understand the power of the internet and what it can do for you.
Agreed. And there's a lot of moving parts to building a website that gets you noticed online, let alone the fact that a lot of times people look at websites and like they get scared because they've got to update it or, keep it current. But there's so many different moving parts outside of it, like Google Plus and getting Yelp reviews and getting some videos flowing there and getting some backlinks that it's just overwhelming, right? I mean, it's just like where does a practitioner find the time to do those sort of things? And I think that it's just like you almost get this like this inactivity because they don't even know where to begin, so you don't even begin.
Right. Yep.
And I totally agree with you. I mean these days, like when you're looking for if you let's say you're looking for a great restaurant, where are you going to go? You're going to go online, right? If you move to a new town and you're going to look for a chiropractor, you're going to go online, you're going to look at pictures of their location, you're going to look at a picture of them, see if you resonate with them, you're going to read their bio and so on. I mean, the internet it's pervasive these days. There's no getting away from it, and you definitely do need an online presence for that.
Mhm. I do think it's interesting though. I've had conversations with practitioners that say, yes, I understand that, but here's the other thing. Like, I am not trying to get to the masses. At this point, I'm trying to work locally with my small community. So I'm not like, somebody who's trying to sell a book or something, in the fact that I don't have a service that can go global right now. My focus is my community, and I say I understand that. As of right now, you're right. I truly believe that the best way for you to get clients is to do talks and to do networking and to get out of your office and meet people, create opportunities in your office for people to come see what you do. But like you just said, all of those people will want to look at a website. I think that there's just this feeling of it. They look at websites to see if a business is legit. They look at websites to see if they connect with the person, if they're close to the office, if it's a place that they will feel comfortable attending. Um, so I do think that having a website that shows all of that, who you are, a picture of who you are, a video of who you are, some pictures of the office, a map of the office,
What you treat,
what
what
you
acupuncture is
specialize
good
in.
for, research, all that
Yep.
stuff. Yeah. I mean,
And, and and a way to connect to you, like send me an email or ways to actually get a hold of you right away.
and not only that, it's a great way for you as a practitioner to share a deeper knowledge of the medicine by blogging and by posting things about, your practice or the change of seasons or a healthcare class that you're doing. So, it's a great way to be interactive in that way. Um,
Yeah.
it, and so I mean, there was no doubt that having a website these days is a priority for a practice. It's just a matter of how much energy a person wants to put into building and creating one. But if you're like in a very populated city like New York or California or I mean San Francisco, um, and you go and you look up acupuncturists in San Francisco, you do need to have some level of SEO options that can get you to the top if that's the way you want to pull patients from the internet.
Yep.
So, because it's very competitive, everyone's doing it, and there's a lot of acupuncturists in a small area, and you need, if you are going to be relying on pulling people from the internet, then you definitely most certainly need to tap into all the different avenues, i.e., moving parts to help get your website uh, that much more of a presence um, in the internet realm.
Yeah. And this next thing that I want to say is not necessarily, it's more of a marketing strategy, I guess, than an actual like action. For me, I talk a lot about tailoring your material to specific people, and different coaches have different belief systems on this, but I really think it's important to figure out who your ideal clients are and build marketing material that speaks to them directly. And create a practice that is for that ideal clientele. And so for me, like what we're just talking about, it's like you have to know where your people show up. Some places, as an example, they use Yelp a lot. I'm in Salt Lake City, and Yelp is not used here very often. So for me to try to get a big Yelp following is not going to help me very much because my people are not there. But I treat a lot of kids. I have a pediatric practice, so I'm always looking for, where are moms, where are kids, how do I interact more with this environment, how do I create a website or marketing material that speaks to moms and kids. And it's very different to create material that is for moms and kids than it is for executives or for athletes or for geriatrics.
Agreed.
So,
I agreed. I think in a way you're talking about specializing or finding a niche that you can target.
right.
And I think that is important, although I've had a lot of practitioners really shy away from that, considering, and they were considering the fact that they're sort of a general practitioner, which is great, and I understand that. But I agree with you on the fact that if you can identify a niche or a market that you really want to attract, go for it because you can tailor your message to them specifically. And like you said, you can find the different avenues, you can find the places where they hang out, and you can sort of tap into those. It doesn't mean that you will only be treating, children and moms, but you'll be generating a bigger buzz there, and you'll also be able to help other people in these other realms because, being an acupuncturist, you are, a bit of a GP, and then you have these abilities to help with other conditions. But if you have something that you love, like if you want to if you're really into running and sports, that's a great niche to be in. Like your niche, pediatrics and moms, excellent. Fertility, fantastic. So I think identifying that is probably pretty important for a lot of practitioners, and I don't think many practitioners really identify this niche that they want to market to. And there's a whole, you've probably done this exercise before, um, of getting down to the nitty gritty of what your ideal person or patient looks like, have
Mm-hmm.
or customer, I mean, it's like getting like that picture of what are they wearing, what are they, what's on their feet, what do they do in the daytime, what kind of food do they eat, where do they hang out, what do they do at the end of the day. And I think if you can get really clear on those kind of things, then you are really honing in on a person that could, like, that could be in the room for you, that you can literally talk to and market to.
Yeah, and I think that like what you just talked about, like that process, it's more important to know that process kind of than it is actually the person at the beginning. Because I work with a lot of new graduates and students, and they're always like, I don't really know who I want my ideal client is yet. I'm brand new. I just want to start practicing. And I say, great, so go through these processes for who you think they are and start there. And if in a year you decide, you don't want to work with athletes after all, then redo the process for who you think is next.
Correct.
When I started out, I was not seeing kids. It was not what I thought I was going to be doing. So, I did this process for who I thought I was going to be treating, and it after a year or so, I was like, this really isn't my population. There's something it's not clicking right. So then you go back to that process and you say, okay, who else might it be? And let's kind of run through this, for a different market, a different target market, and go again. But I think when people try to market to the masses, you're marketing to no one. A lot of mass marketing, you have to have a target. You have to know who you're going after to be able to pull them in appropriately. If you do it too generalized, you don't attract anyone. And I see that like over and over and over again in especially print marketing. Generic print marketing just really doesn't get results.
I agree. I mean, companies spend a lot of money to identify their ideal customer, and I think it is very important for practitioners to spend the time to identify their ideal patient. And there's definitely some worksheets and some some systems set up to actually walk a person through identifying that ideal client. I'm sure you have certain things that you work with on your own clients that help them identify that.
Yes. Yeah,
Great.
absolutely. I think most people do. Absolutely.
Sure. Um,
Yep.
so let's see, any other tips or ideas or insights? Basically, AOM week is coming up in October. It is a week-long event that the NCC AOM has identified back in 2002. They actually called it AOM Day. Now they're moving it into AOM week, and it is our day, or it's our week as acupuncturists to grab the limelight and the spotlight and to jump on the bandwagon in a national way to spread the word that acupuncture is awesome.
Right.
Any insights into um, quick little tips, quick little insights for people to um, use during that week to maybe generate a couple extra new patients?
Well, I think having a special week or a special day is a great excuse to create different opportunities, and to use it in your language in a way that makes people kind of be aware of what's happening. So whenever you have a new product or a new reason to do your work, make sure you communicate that reason. So
Hmm.
if you're going to go out and do networking and it is acupuncture, week, then make sure that you say that and be excited about that and encourage other people to, embrace it.
Hmm.
Um,
Agreed.
I also think it's I also think it's an important time for us as acupuncturists to really think about our profession, and support our profession. So link up to other acupuncturists, link up to the different associations, participate fully that week so that you can make interprofessional communication and partnerships just as much as external, you know, business building relationships.
Hmm. I agree. I think a lot of practitioners shy away from networking with other acupuncture practitioners because they feel as though they don't want to, connect up with their competition. But there are power in numbers, and if you can spread the word with your colleagues, it's just that much more of a greater expansion that we can have on getting the word out that acupuncture is awesome, and you both will benefit from it. Um, so it's just a matter of just really getting over that competitive edge and just realize that we're really all here to share this mission that acupuncture is great, and we're all here to grow our practices, and I think we could all do it together.
Yeah, and just to add on to that, I think that, if you can find practitioners that are close by that you can partner up for events or things like that, also, it's very beneficial, especially cost-wise. Um, like we used to do a lot of different kinds of booths and fairs and that kind of stuff when I ran a community acupuncture clinic. And it was always large time spans and large amounts of money to actually participate in those. And so a lot of times we would try to reach out and, do events with other offices. So we would be like, we'll be there Monday and Thursday. You guys can be there Tuesday and Friday. Somebody else will be there on Saturday, and we'll split all the costs. And then
Yep.
we know that somebody's always there promoting acupuncture at this event. So I think you really have to look at, how do we use each other to help leverage each other and help this community instead of just thinking they're my competition or I don't want, my patients to go to them.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. In practice I've been in the past, we've networked with other practitioners, and it's been a great success. I mean, we've worked with people who were across town, so there was a little less competition. But again, it spreads the message. You get to not work so hard at trying to do this kind of thing, and you're building goodwill and relationships with your local community, and I think that's a win-win. Um, so, any last parting words?
No, I thank you for having me on today and talking about this stuff. I love to talk about practice building. It's a huge passion of mine, and I truly believe that every acupuncturist can be successful in business if they just get the right support and guidance. So, I'm glad that you're doing it. I'm glad that I'm doing it. There's a really strong handful of practitioners out there that are really giving back to students and to new practitioners right now in hopes that it will make a difference. So thank you for what you're doing. I think it's really important.
I agree, and thank you for what you're doing. The profession does need people like us who are willing to step out and share the benefit, share marketing ideas and techniques because we were not taught many techniques and marketing strategies in school. We're just really focused on points and technique and herbs and all of that, which is great and understandable. But in order when you get out of school, you really have to wrap your head around how am I going to get my first patients? How am I going to keep my patients in care? What am I going to do when they fall out of care? And I think you know, Acupuncture Media Works and I practice offer really great solutions to help practitioners find greater success in practice. So um, thanks again, Alyssa, for taking the time out of your busy day to join me on this call today.
You're welcome. Thank you.
All right, great. Thanks.